A few weeks back, I read in the New York Times an interview with Chaim Saban. Chaim Saban.
I read that,
yeah, you saw it.
The head of Marvel, or was the a toy czar, right? And Marvel Entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a very rich man.
He's a very rich man, and I think the leading donator to the Democratic Party. And he said something pretty shocking. He said, in order for us, there's a quote that something that he said in Israel. So the crowd was Israeli and Zionist Jewish crowd. He said, in order to us to shape America, we have to control the media, we have to fundraise to take care of the fundraising for the parties, all of them, by the way, because it's always, if you fundraise for all parties, you always win. And we have to take care of think tanks. Now, think tanks is the body that is there to define your image of your needs.
What's wrong with what he said? In other words, he was originally Israeli, I believe?
For sure.
Okay, originally Israeli. I think he's an American citizen, giving heavily to those causes and to pro-Israeli type causes, saying that we need to influence events. How is that different than what you're trying to do right now?
No. But, to start with, what I try to do right now, I try to talk to you people and to your viewers, and I'm doing it all over the world, and I don't try to define their interests in a conspiratorial manner. For instance,
where's the conspiracy? He told the New York Times exactly what he was trying to do. There's no conspiracy.
No, because
very
the American people are not taking part as a society in think tanks that come up with the idea that liberating Iraqi people is the real meaning of American democracy.
I'm sorry, I really beg to differ. The rationale for the Iraq War came out of neoconservative think tanks and conservative think tanks like the Heritage Foundation. Yeah. There were groups, I think it was called the Group for a New American Century. Yeah. It was all think tank driven. You can go back
and who control these think tanks?
The conservatives.
I suggest that you check out. If we talk about the New American Century, and
there was a big Israeli.
When we talk about Bush, what happened to be Bush doctrine, it is actually a document that leaked to the New York Times in 92 or 94, I don't remember, and it was then the Wolfowitz doctrine. The Wolfowitz doctrine was actually composed by Wolfowitz and Libby, and it defined the security of Israel within what is regarded then by them as American interest. If American people, you and others, think that a foreign country should shape your interests, should control your media, and should control your politicians through funding, if this is what you want, good luck with it. Enjoy your credit crunch.
But you know what? As a member of the media, who does not get funded,
you know why?
In any way, shape, or form,
because you're probably critical of Israel.
I'm largely pro-Israel. I do try to listen to both sides of the conversation, which is why I'm here. But I think that if the idea that Israel controls the media, that's not how it works here, in my opinion. What does happen, though, and I think this is really maybe what we should be talking about, is that you mentioned chilling effect, right? Okay, there is no, I'll just tell you a very quick personal story. I have a blog here called Aspen Post. And it is literally open to anybody with any viewpoint. And it's very rare for us to take something down. We have there's a very well-known woman in the Valley who's been in letters to the editors and so on, pro-Palestinian. And I let her blog, just like I'd let anyone blog. I didn't care what she said, really. Let her blog. And I've got to tell you, I got called anti-Semitic. I got called, I had people writing to the board members of my company, which owns this blog, calling me anti-Semitic. And, you know, that's what really happened. So I'm actually, there's a lot of what you're saying that I would agree with, particularly that you are not, it's not that it's legal or First Amendment. People can say it, but in reality, it is very difficult to be pro-Palestinian in the United States. That's my opinion.
For sure.
It's very difficult.
For sure. You just mentioned why.
Right.
You just mentioned why.
So that's what I think happened. It's not the Constitution, or it's just the and let me just say one other thing about this. That does pertain to the Holocaust. Wolfowitz, I believe, lost family members in the Holocaust. I'm pretty sure he did. The neoconservative rhetoric was laced with references to Hitler and appeasement.
For sure.
Right.
This is why we need to go back and revive the history of World War II.
Well, but the point is this: the massive evil that the Holocaust represents, even if it was 1,000 people, you know, the massive evil is a lesson in history to all of us. Okay. That any, and it's not just, you know, it happens to other people, it happens, but for the Jews specifically, from what I read in history, they have been targeted throughout history with extinction or
I have to challenge you here. I have to challenge
okay,
you.
well, I'll let you do that. But my point is just that the massive horror of the Holocaust. I mean, we have all seen footage of people coming out of the concentration camps. I mean, if nothing else, we've seen what they look like. We've seen photographs.
What do you know? Why did they look the way they look? What do you know about it? Why do you think that they were? Why do you think that they were so? It's horrifying. Why do you think that they were looked so?
I could give you a really complicated answer, but I think
the answer is very simple.
I think the answer is that they were Jewish, and they were Jewish in the wrong place at the wrong time.
No. So this is why we need revision, because these people who suffered, and there is no doubt about it, were what we call then Muslims, severe malnutrition, and they died, thousands of them a day, because in the last 3 months of the war, there was a severe, catastrophic typhus epidemic.
Many millions died before the last 3 months of the war. Many millions died in the ghettos of Warsaw.
Maybe. I'm not.
Well, either they did or they didn't.
No.
It's not a maybe.
No. I'm not trying to say. I'm not trying to say that people didn't die. You know what you just did now. You implemented a wrong information that was digested and was matured into misinformation.
What was wrong about what I said?
What you said is that you implied that the people that you saw by the end of the war, in footage that we all horrified by, were actually eventually ended up in that situation because they were actually abused. This was a catastrophe.
They were not abused. What were the concentration camps like?
No, I'm going to the image that you picked. These people were actually in a horrible state because there was a typhus epidemic, partially because this Germany collapsed logistically in the end of the war, and this has actually nothing to do historically with the event known as the Holocaust, i.e. gas chambers and persecution of Jews. Many of those people, those images that you saw were actually in Western European camps, largely in Germany, and many of those people were Russian POW, French. It is not the event. It has very little to do with the event known as the Holocaust.